Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. You missed our comedic reaction already of me making Sam laugh, so she's all primed to go for some Bill Burr. We've got I'm Sick of Michelle Obama. I assume this is a little bit older now. I don't think this is recent, so I think this might have been when Michelle was, getting all the clout from and being in a relationship with Obama or somewhere around that time period, but no idea what to expect from Bill other than...
savagery is what we have to expect from Bill.
Exactly. But we've got lots of Bill on the channel. So if this is your first time on the channel, we would love to have you as a part of our community.
Yeah,
lots of comedy videos. We've got probably 125 or more at this point, and we plan on having more in the future because...
I love comedy.
Sam loves comedy.
Well, you like it too.
No, I don't. I just do it to entertain you. Kidding, of course I do, and I do like comedy as well, and we like to add new comedians. So if you have a suggestion, hit us down low below. Hit us down low below. Yeah, I guess that still makes sense, but not really. Anyways, it's time for me to shut up and let Bill do his thing. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's roll.
How are you? How's it going? Thank you for coming out of this wonderful evening. I just got back from Southeast Asia doing some stand-up over there. Really cool people. Yeah. Wonderful people. Unbelievable level of poverty and stuff. I almost fall off the stage. Makes it hard to complain, though, you know? You see that level of poverty, come back, your throat's all itching and stuff. Probably got Ebola, you know? That would be a good thing to bring that here, you know? Just to kind of thin out the traffic a little bit, right? Why don't they ever just let it burn through one time? Why do we always gotta, jump on it? You ever had one of those selfish thoughts? Like, what if it was a bunch of people who died, nobody you knew or loved, right? And then the next day you just get to tear right through the Lincoln Tunnel at about 5 in the evening, right? The only thing you'd have to suppress is the guilt of not missing those people you didn't know, right? I shouldn't make fun of Ebola. I don't know anything about it. Other than if you get it, you have this unbelievable urge to go to the airport, right? Yeah, I don't know what it is. Nobody gets Ebola, just has the decency to just walk out in the woods by themselves and just bleed out like a gentleman, right? For some reason, you got to go right down to the airport. Oh, can I downgrade to a middle seat? So, I'm sick of Obama's wife. Yeah. This isn't some Republican rant either. It's just kind of first ladies in general. You know, I don't know what it is. All throughout my life, with each presidency, like these first ladies, they've just gotten more and more like chatty, you know? More and more chiming in, like leaning into the frame, spitting out their ideas. It's just like, well, why are you talking? Right? You weren't elected. Shut up. Your husband's not running a lemonade stand here. He's running the country. You don't just chime.
It's funny, though, you compare that to Trump and Melania, and she was not evident in the picture at all.
No, she wanted nothing to do with it.
No, and I don't know if that was just, an agreement between the two of them. She didn't want that. Trump didn't want that or what. But,
she never tried to, get her 2 cents in there.
But you compare that to Obama, obviously, Michelle, which we're talking about now. Hillary Clinton clearly ran into the spotlight. And I don't think I can't really think of the Bushes.
I don't even know who his wife was.
I don't know their names, so I guess that tells you how much at the forefront they were.
Yeah. I guess it could have been the time period too, though. At least for me, I was so young, I don't remember it very much.
Yeah. Anyways, I just found it interesting that, we have Michelle, who is talked about so much, even today.
Biden's married now?
Yeah. Jill Biden.
I don't even know who his wife is.
Jill.
Is she leaning into the frame?
Not as much as Michelle was, no. But
True.
she's People argue that she's calling the shots.
I mean, he's sleeping half the time, so.
Sleepy Joe. Anyways, we won't go down that road. I think everybody has their own feelings on the political spectrum. But First Lady, I would say Michelle is probably the most prominent figure.
Yeah, wants all the spotlight.
In history, recent history anyways.
Yeah.
Ideas. It's just like, well, why are you talking? Right? You weren't elected. Shut up. Your husband's not running a lemonade stand here. He's running the country. You don't just chime in. Let me guess, is this considered sexist? It is? Why? Well, okay, you just nodded there, lady. Let me ask you this, all right? Let's say you had a leak in your house, okay? You call a plumber up. He shows up, and he goes, yeah, I think the leak's coming from the upstairs bathroom. We need to shut it up, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden, his wife walks in, who isn't a plumber. And he goes, oh, you know, I actually think it's kind of hey. Wouldn't you be like, with all due respect, shut the up. I need a plumber in this moment. I'll extend an olive branch here. All right, at some point, there's going to be the first female president, right? Exactly. Which means at that moment, you're going to have the first male first lady, right? And when
Valid.
that happens, that dude needs to shut his trap. I don't want to hear a word out of him. I want to hear from the president. You, sir, go do some first lady stuff, all right? Go get yourself some gloves that go up to your elbows. Smile and nod during speeches. Go put your own flair redecorating the White House, right? Which leads you to Michelle Obama, right? Now she's sitting there holding up those hashtags. Remember that hashtag, bring back our girls? Remember that? It's like, it blew my mind. It's like, why are you showing me that? I'm a stand-up comedian. Like, what am I gonna do to get those girls back? Why don't you look across the dinner table? It's like, you see that guy? That is the leader of the free world. Tell him to pick up a phone, call some Navy SEALs and solve it. What am I gonna do? Show up with a sharpened mic stand? Hey, Michelle said to bring him back. Oh, it's unreal.
I've never really thought about it before in that detail, that it's true. You obviously don't vote for the first lady.
Yeah.
Right? But there's so much influence and so much push for them to be at the forefront of, you know, the conversation. And what do you think about this? And it's like, you know, pretty evident that most people probably don't care, but it's forced down their throat, so to speak. Yeah. I mean, that's true in a lot of respects, though, when it comes to politics now, right? Because, you know, you don't vote for corporations to have their influence on policy decisions and everything else, right? But they do, and you didn't vote for them.
There's always going to be influence that
or like the WHO, right? The World Health Organization, you know, and when everything was going on in 2020, how much influence that they had on everybody's decisions, right? And we didn't vote for any of those people. Right? So I think there's a lot of areas that maybe we overlook that people have a lot of influence. And, you know, it would be interesting if a female was elected, the first woman president, and that dynamic, because I feel like initially...
The first man with the white gloves.
Yeah. That sounds really weird, like you're getting ready for a prostate exam. But I think in that respect, it would be interesting, because in today's society, for sure, like they would be like, oh, he just needs to step back and not like, you know, be on anybody's toes and let her make the decisions. And if he got too invested in those decisions, that it would be backlash, because it would be like, oh, just let a woman manage. So, you know, it's like...
Well, I think you see a little bit, like, this is obviously coming from a TV show, so don't quote me, but I feel like you see a little bit of that if you've watched The Crown, when you're looking at the Queen and her husband's role, right? Like, if you look at that, she was in prominent power and he had to kind of like find purpose, finding something else to do.
That's true.
Which I think is the only thing I can think of that would be close to what that might look like for a female president. Yeah,
that's very valid. Never thought about that.
The only other thing I was going to say is that the only other first lady I can think of who is probably as prominent, if not more, than Michelle Obama is Jackie O.
Yeah.
She was in the media a lot. People gave her a lot of attention. She went to a lot of these events and talked to a lot of these very influential people.
Yeah, I guess that's valid. I mean, maybe over certain periods of time, it was more of a thing to do, depending on who the person is. If they're, charismatic themselves, then they'll be at the forefront. But anyways, let's let Bill finish up.
That is the leader of the free world. Tell him to pick up a phone, call some Navy SEALs and solve it. What am I going to do? Show up with a sharpened mic stand? Hey, Michelle said to bring him back. Oh, it's unreal. I'll tell you what kills me. Hillary Clinton might run. She might run. That blows my mind. I mean, how she became a senator. She went from being the president's wife to being a senator. Just like that. Lateral move. That's like Tom Brady's wife becoming the next quarterback of the Rams. It's like, what, you hanging out? You just pick it up? I sucked at sports, and then I banged Tom Brady, and I don't know what happened. I just picked up a ball. I started lacing it. I'm leading receivers. It was incredible. I knew it was going to be like this. You know what's funny? There's actually people out there that think a woman being president is actually a good idea. You know? Can you believe that?
Can you believe
See
it?
that they do? That'll do something. That'll change things. How? How the is that going to change anything? Do you know what the president makes a year? The president makes $400,000 a year. That's it. He's trying to keep billionaires in line, making $400,000 a year. That's all he makes. He makes less than some people blogging on the internet. The president should have you money, right? He shouldn't be sitting there with his pockets turned inside. I need your help to get me the job, right? What do you guys all donate to the campaign? Is that what it is? The band's enjoying it. Martha Stewart, not so much, but the rest of you, enjoying it. They're just jokes, Martha. Come on. You got an empire. I'm rooting for you.
This is so interesting reflecting on it, because I know it's a heavy, we're getting into heavier discussions with the politics, but it's Michelle Obama, right? And I wasn't honestly about Michelle Obama as much as I thought it was going to be. I thought he was going to make more jokes about her, but
Like her specifically?
yeah, in this clip, but he didn't do that. So we're focusing on the politics, and it's interesting he said that at the end about the president having his own money, because we've seen Donald Trump recently is the only president that's come to be that had his own FU money, to speak.
Yeah, like had his own empire prior to that.
And a lot of people argue that that's what separates him from your, everyday political
because he's a
candidates.
businessman. He didn't get into it from being a politician.
Right. And that's why a lot of people support him, I think, is because they think he's different than what Bill was just talking about. What's the difference going to be if somebody else gets in there that's a different gender, if they subscribe to the same belief system or the same ideology or their same power structure? They can't do what they want to do. And it's interesting, though, because even with that said, with Donald Trump, you look at his first term, and a lot of people argue, obviously, it's a lot better than what's been going on recently with Biden. But there is an argument to be made as well, I think, that he didn't accomplish as much as he wanted to and everybody else wanted him to. So although things were maybe more stable than they are today, there's a lot of arguments made about the policies that he put into place that really never came to be in terms of making a big change of draining the swamp, as he even said, right?
Yeah, well, I think like part of it too is that regardless of what the person who's sitting in the presidential seat wants or what they might, envision happening, there's a lot of red tape you have to get through before some of that stuff can happen, right? So like, I'm not going to say who the president is doesn't matter, because it does, but it's like, it's not just up to them, right? So they could have all of these ideas and these great policies they want to put in place, but if it's getting stopped at the next level every single time, then it's not going to make a difference.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm highlighting is that the corporations and the businesses that lobby and give money and, need favors, or even, obviously Donald Trump has a lot of friends that are, going to be influential to his decisions, right? So it's just crazy that we have such a restrictive system that the person with the biggest military on the planet and the reserve currency and all this other stuff, is, even if they wanted to, limited in the decisions that they can make or provide change with to the entire planet. Really, it's crazy how the political system and the structure of power tends to stay the same more than it's ever going to change.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like the last thing I just wanted to say is that I'm in no way, shape, or form saying it would be better or it would be worse. But I think something to consider, like he made the point of like, what difference is having a female president going to make? And I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not saying it's better or worse, but like you and I have had this discussion a million times about how different men and women actually are, right? The way they think, the way that they respond to things, like the way that they see logic versus emotion, all of this kind of stuff, right? So like, I genuinely do think that it probably would be different. Like, I don't know how far those things would get past this, like past the people that they run ideas by and the House and Congress and whatever, but it's like their first response to things probably would be different. To say if that would be better or worse, it would probably depend on the policy and the issue and whatever. But I think that like they probably would think about things differently because they're different genders. They're biologically made to be different, right?
Yes and no. I mean, I think when we're talking about biological differences, and yes, there might be a difference in some of the way they respond to things. I think a lot of it stems from biological differences. So, I think your school of thought comes from it. Like if you're talking about an investment professional or something like that, like they're going to have principles that guide them, that provide them with the decision-making process to conclude things and make them good at their job or not good at their job. Mm-hmm. So do I think that there will be subtle differences? Probably, maybe, it might be, easier to come to a political agreement or arrangement if you had a different gender at the helm, and maybe people would be more willing to discuss things because of that. I don't know. Yeah. Or maybe it would be that, because as you said, women might tend to be more emotionally responsive, that World War III would happen tomorrow. So
yeah, because they're not thinking about things as rationally or logically.
Right. So I don't know how that's going to play out, but I think that it still comes back to, it would be hard to see a change because of the structural hierarchy that's in place,
for sure,
regardless of who's in it. And I think that's what Bill was talking about.
Yeah, it's not going to make
right?
that much of a difference that you should be like pounding the pavement about it.
Yeah, and do I want to just have a woman in there for the sake of having a woman in there? Definitely not.
No,
I wouldn't just, and I think some people think that way. It's like, let's just put Hillary Clinton in there because she's a woman.
So it can make history type thing.
Yeah, and it's like, no, that's going to get you into a real bad situation real quick. So anyways, that's enough of the political talk, guys. We just went from comedy to politics. Our first political video on the channel. No, I'm kidding. But it wasn't as funny as I thought it was going to be from Bill. I
it wasn't really what I was expecting. I think that's why. I think like part of it for me, it wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I think it was more of a conversation starter on the political spectrum than on the comedic side of things. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video nonetheless. Hit the like button if you did. We got more comedy on the channel if you want to go check out that. And hopefully you come back tomorrow and check out our 2 next videos.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you then.